You can watch this show and past shows by going to pbssocal.org or rickreiff.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on Inside OC. Hey, how did I do on time? Because oh, good. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now we're just going to, this is the green room stuff now. So is there anything we didn't get to that you really wanted to?
We covered Musco Center.
Oh, you know what? What we didn't talk about, I wanted the anecdotes. Maybe we can talk about it now. Your prolific fundraising prowess, that you have raised money in an elevator, in a valet line. Talk about the elevator.
Well, it was serendipity. This was not by plan, but I was showing a number of our donors, Mary and Knott, a room she had named in Beckman Hall, which required going up an elevator, and she and her family, several other donors, we got stuck in an elevator. The phones weren't even installed in the elevator. We were stuck, and they had to call an elevator repairman, and it took 2 hours. We were stuck for almost 2 hours. Her sister, Marion's sister, Toni Oliphant, wonderful lady, the Knott family, wonderful family, great people. We talked about the needs at Chapman, and we were able to secure a gift that ultimately led to the naming of Oliphant Hall.
Wow.
On campus.
Because I would think you get stuck in an elevator, that might cost you a donation. You actually came out ahead.
A fundraiser's dream to have a captive audience. They can't go anywhere.
Now, another time you're in a valet line. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, you know, the greatest thing about fundraising is you meet great people who become your personal friends. And two of those, Christine and Lon Cross, and I gave a talk. I actually interviewed Boone Pickens. Anyway, after the talk, I go outside, and there's this huge hour-long valet line. Oh man, I have to get back to school. I have to stand in this line, and I'm looking at my my iPhone, and all of a sudden I hear two people talking behind me, and I hear Villa Park come up. I turn around. Oh, you're from Villa Park? Yes. That was the beginning of a conversation. Said, have you ever been to Chapman? You know, it's funny, Jim, here it's in our backyard, we've never been on campus. Well, you've got to come to Chapman. Well, that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and what ultimately led to a $10 million endowment gift from the very generous, from Chris and her foundation.
Someday someone's going to do a play or a musical about this encounter, Jim Doti and Huell Howser.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
Huell Howser now, his library is the property of Chapman. And he donated that the volcano house out in the desert, which you've now
and his other homes
sold, right,
Chapman? Yeah, he had 2 or 3 homes that he had.
How did you hook up with Huell Howser?
Well, he was, funny story. First of all, I love Huell Howser, but everybody loves Huell Howser. I'm not alone there. And he was doing a show in Old Town Orange. And I watched the show, hoping to see Chapman University. No Chapman. No Chapman. Somebody on the show said, oh, over there, that's Chapman University. But that was it. So I write a letter to Huell Howser. It was a great show. I love your work and so on. But you know, you missed out on a very important part of Old Town Orange, and that is Chapman University. And that was it. I thought that would be the end of things. I received a call from Huell Howser himself. I wish I could impersonate his voice, but in his inimitable style.
Jim, this is Hugh.
There
Jim, this is Hugh.
I'm sorry I missed Chapman University.
That's good, okay.
But he came down and visited, started a guest lecture. We became good friends.
He looked around and said, how about that, right?
And can you imagine what a wonderful teacher he was? He gave guest lectures.
Yeah.
And we would have lunch over. He loved the filling station, and he would be out there on the patios, and people would be
That's
walking
a restaurant,
by.
the filling station.
Yeah, and the people would be coming by, and what a wonderful man. And he gave his last speech. He called it his last speech. It was up on his rooftop in Los Angeles, an apartment building, a penthouse, and he gave his last speech, and he said, people wonder why I gravitate to Chapman. What was it about Chapman? Why am I giving everything to Chapman University? Why am I establishing this California Gold Scholarship at Chapman? And he said, when you go down there and visit, everybody is friendly. And everybody's friendly, from the president, pointing to me, to the faculty, to the staff, all the way down to the groundskeeper, the people cutting the grass. When he said that, there was a titter in the crowd laughing about the, and he said, wait a minute, don't laugh. those grounds people, those landscapers, those people taking care, making Chapman a beautiful place, they are important as anyone on campus. That just told you what his personality,
And you know, it's interesting, you talk about that, and somebody could listen, boy, was that a lucky break. You meet a guy in a valet line, you meet someone in an elevator, you know, Huell Howser responds to your letter, but that's not luck. You must have done that hundreds of times where nothing happens. You talk to somebody in a valet line, right? You run into someone, you send someone a letter about something that, gee, you should have mentioned Chapman, but every once in a while, right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. And I love talking to people. People are great. People are good. You know, in this world today, we hear about terrorism and all the negative things. When people are basically good, and when you take some time to smell the roses, if you will, and see what people are all about, and say hello to them. It could be somebody who's selling you a pair of shoes, whatever it is. My dad was a shoe salesman, by the way. Maybe I learned it from him, to find the good in people. And it's not to get the $10 million gift. It's not to get the Oliphant Hall. It's not to get the California Gold Scholarship. It's basically to find joy in life, and joy in life involves interacting with good people. That's why I value my friendship.
Did you point at me when you said that?
I am.
Well, you know what? I think we're going to run this part.
Listen, you pass what I call the supermarket test. That is, when you see someone coming down the supermarket aisle, is that somebody you want to stay in that aisle, or will you take a quick right
Jim.
or left? That's how I feel because you're attending the same events in our society events, fundraising events in Southern California that I do, and it's always a joy to see you and reconnect.
The feeling is many times mutual.
Yeah,
so
maybe
thanks,
it's
Jim.
that common Sicilian thing going on. I don't know.
A little bit of that.
Yeah.
Violin music, please. Inside OC is brought to you by 5 Point. 5 Point is an independent real estate development company with assets under management across California. 5 Point is a proud sponsor of public television and community programming.